everyone, welcome to Recourse Coaching. I'm Coach Katie and this is my husband Jeff, and he's going to be my demo today. At Recourse Coaching, I help overwhelmed people biohack their lives so that they can reach their potential and feel amazing. And part of that is making sure that we have really good mobility, we can decrease our risk of injury and hopefully decrease pain as well. So we are going to talk about one of those mobilizations today, and it's mobilizing the upper back. For this mobilization, you either need a Gemini from thereadystate.com, or you can do this with just one lacrosse ball. You can also tape two lacrosse balls together, and Yoga Tune-Up also sells two of the balls in like a little bag. So if this were two lacrosse balls, you would just tape this with some duct tape. So I'll show you how to do this with the Gemini and with just one lacrosse ball if that's all that you have. So with the Gemini or a double lacrosse ball, you're going to start all the way up here on the muscles, nice and high up on the back, and we're only going to go down to about where your shoulder blades stop. So I don't want you doing the lower back today. So we're going to start up here, and remember the lacrosse ball, put your spine in between the two sides of the lacrosse balls. So you don't ever want a lacrosse ball on your spine. Okay, so Jeff's going to put this nice and high up here, and then he's going to lay down. So for this first part of the mobilization, you're probably not going to feel a lot unless you lift your hips up in the air. So I'm going to have Jeff do that. Good, can you feel it? Mm-hmm. All right, and then he's going to raise his arms in the air. He's going to do what we call drive the bus. He can do it kind of slow, and he can increase the speed a little bit. Then he's going to raise his hands above his head. He can get all the way down to the ground. You may not be able to. You just go to where it's comfortable for you. And then he's going to bring his arms down. Good. And then he's going to give himself a hug. And he's going to rock back on the cross balls. Now this should feel like anything from a light to a bad bruise. It should never feel like pinching or have any tingling or any sharp pain. If it does, the lacrosse ball is probably in the wrong spot, or this just isn't the right mobilization for you. So you wouldn't want to do it then if you're feeling a lot of pain. Good. So after that, Jeff's going to go ahead and lower his hips, and then he's going to move the lacrosse balls down a little bit. Good. And then he's going to do the same thing. Drive the bus. So you're going to do this for a total of probably 5 to 6 minutes. If you're using a single lacrosse ball, it's probably going to be about 10 minutes because you have to do each side separately. So you'll notice up here too, Jeff does this a lot, so he's not getting a lot of what he should be feeling when his hips were down, so he lifted up his hips a little bit more. Good. Then he's going to roll the lacrosse balls down a little bit again. See how he's not letting his lower back come up really high or anything. You want to protect that, so you always want to be pulling your spine in a little bit, especially if you have lower back problems. And he's going to do the same thing, drive the bus. Good, arms overhead. Yep, and then the hug. So he's going to do this, moving the ball down in those different positions until he's finished getting right to the bottom of his shoulder blades. Go ahead and sit back up for me. All right, so he's going to go till about right here. Now, if you're doing this with one lacrosse ball, you're going to do the one side, right? It should take about 5 minutes. Then you have to go onto the other side and do the other side. It should be about 5 minutes. You can also do this standing up against a wall, and we're going to show you that in a second. All right, so to do this standing up against a wall, which might be more accessible for people, you're going to do the same thing. Put this nice and high, lean into it. You usually have to have like a nice angle right here. You can drive the bus, arms overhead, hug, rock back and forth. So if you want to see where this is on my spine, it's a little bit easier to see while I'm up against the wall. So in the beginning, it's nice and high up on my shoulders, the muscles way up here. And then I roll it down a little and I work here. I'm going to roll it down again. As you get closer to the wall, you're going to do this thing where you drop it down a little bit here, and then same thing here. And then you can also, if you're leaning up against the wall, I actually find the single lacrosse ball a little bit easier to control. So I can come in here. I like to do this here. So you can really get into the single lacrosse ball a little bit more on the ball. So you can roll up and down, hug, rock back and forth. I usually do this. Drive the bus. And you can actually do almost the whole entire area a little bit if you're up against the wall with a single lacrosse ball. All right, so that is your basic T-spine or upper spine mobilization. Should help you feel a lot better. Usually do this every other day, and you should have better overhead mobility. You should be able to stand up straighter and feel a little bit better. So if you would like to know more about me or work with me, you can go to recoursecoaching.com, or you can find me on Instagram at recoursecoaching. Bye.